Welcome back, my friends. Last time we looked at the gut as the foundation, but tonight we're going to build the walls with food. What you eat becomes you, literally. Food sends signals that turn healing genes on and off. But first, let us look or do one of our usual grounding exercises. So tonight will be short and sweet. We have a lot to cover. So if you will just find a comfortable seat, just relax, maybe close your eyes or soften your gaze, and just focus for a moment on breathing. And maybe each time you take a breath in, take a little bit deeper breath. Breathing through your nose, a little bit deeper. This is sending a signal to your body that you're safe. One more deep breath, this time a little bit deeper. A little bit more. Okay. Let's take a moment to just make sure there's no tension in our body. Maybe stretch or wiggle a little bit. Sit back in your chair, feet on the ground or relaxed wherever you're sitting. And we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to blow out with a sigh. Deep breath. Hold and sigh. You just feel how everything just kind of relaxes. I love how that works. All right. So we're going to get started tonight. There's so much to cover. And I want to make sure that we're getting to everything and can really dig deep tonight. So by the end of our session, we're going to understand how food is impacting inflammation and gene expression, actually. And we're going to recognize some foods that are normal autoimmune triggers, and some that we might have individually. We're going to learn about which foods and habits will promote gut repair and immune balance. And we're going to begin building our own anti-inflammatory meal plan and lifestyle rhythm. So we'll have, and there's some homework, there's downloads and things in the classroom that you can look at that will help you on the journey of implementing what we learned this week. So if you've been following along and doing your homework, you've already learned that your gut is the foundation of your immune system. And if you've done any other work with me, you know the gut is your immune system, 70 to 80%, right? And we're going to call it for tonight, and for this autoimmune program that we've been doing, we've been kind of talking about the gut as the body's soil, where things can grow, both good and bad, depending on how your soil is fed and how healthy it is. Tonight, we're going to continue that same idea, but we're going to move into seed. We're going to talk about what we plant in our soil, the food that we are eating, how it shapes our immune system and our immune response, how it shapes our energy and even our mood. I want you to remember this. Food is not just fuel. Food is also communication. So we have said many times, food is your fuel. Make sure you're eating well. But it's also communicating with your body. Every bite is telling your body what to do. It's telling it to be calm, or it's telling it to inflame. It's telling it to repair or react, to heal or harm. Every bite is a message to your immune system. Our goal tonight is to help you learn to speak the language of healing to your body through food. Why does food matter? Good question. When we eat processed foods, gluten, sugar, or other inflammatory foods, you might have an inflammatory food list that you were given at the beginning of your program with me. We are giving our immune system a message. The message is inflame. But when we feed it living, vibrant foods, plants and clean proteins and healthy fats, it hears repair. The food is not just calories or energy or fuel, it is also information. So nutrients regulate our inflammation, drives inflammation or repair. The gut lining depends on nutrient density, like lots of nutrients in the food. Our gut lining depends on those nutrients. And food affects our gene expression. This is called epigenetics. Food actually turns genes on and off. So our genes are not our destiny. Everybody says, well, my mom had it, so I have to have it. Not true. Genes are simply instructions waiting for the input to go. They just sit there. They don't do anything if you take care of yourself. The input to go is from our food. This is the study of epigenetics, and it's really based on our lifestyle and our environment and our foods that turn our genes on and off. When you have a diet that's full of real, vibrant foods, it turns on healing genes, the ones that reduce inflammation and repair your cells and protect you from disease. But a diet full of processed foods and chemicals and sugars, that begins to turn on stress genes. And those are the ones that promote inflammation and cause confusion in the body. So the question becomes, what messages are you sending to your body every day? This isn't about restriction. That's the huge thing. Everybody's like, well, I'm restricting my diet. At the beginning, when you work with me, yes, there are some restrictions, but it's more about education. It's about learning how to feed your biology, not just your taste buds. Gluten, dairy, refined sugars, processed oils, alcohol, artificial additives, these are inflammatory foods. These are the foods that most commonly trigger immune reactivity. So let's look at each one of these a little bit closer. Gluten increases gut permeability when you have an inflammatory response to it. It doesn't always. But it can increase it if it's already there. The tight junctions that are in your intestinal lining, they begin to loosen, and that allows toxins to get into your bloodstream. Dairy can mimic human tissue, especially those with Hashimoto's or lupus, and it can really confuse the immune system. Sugar spikes insulin and suppresses our immune function. It feeds the inflammatory bacteria, bad stuff. Certain processed oils like canola and soybean or corn oil actually create oxidative stress, like rust inside your cells. Alcohol impairs our gut repair and it raises our cortisol levels. So alcohol is a no-no if your cortisols are high or if your cortisol isn't working properly. Artificial additives like food-like products, chemicals, and things like MSG. MSG is actually an excitotoxin, and it causes all kinds of issues with our body and neurotransmitters. Emotional eating and overeating. Most of the time when we emotionally eat, we're running for those quick foods. Most of the time when we're overeating, we're eating too much of those quick foods. So learning how to create healthy quick foods that you can grab when you're feeling emotional and you need to eat. So do I expect you to be perfect? Of course not. And those of you that have worked with me for a long time, you know that's not true. This isn't about punishment and reward. It's not about, you got to be perfect in it or you're going to die. None of that. It's really about awareness and how to understand how the foods are affecting your body. When you remove inflammatory foods, which is what we try to do at the very beginning of our program, your immune system finally gets a break from all of the constant firefighting that it's been doing. So take a moment and think about last week or this past week. What foods left you feeling energized and which ones left you feel heavy, bloated, or foggy? If you want, you can share in the chat. But I will tell you this. On Friday, I had dessert. It was so good. And I usually have desserts on Friday because it's a holiday for me every Friday. But Friday night, I had a little extra dessert. And Saturday, meh. I didn't feel horrible. But I just didn't have as much energy as I have had all week. I only eat dessert on Fridays because I know that dessert is going to make me feel kind of bogged down, heavy. Probably is the best example or explanation of what I felt. So I only have dessert on Friday night because I know that I can rest on Saturday all day and not worry about whether or not I feel kind of bleh. And then it got cold, and then I really wanted to just get under the covers and read a good book with the fireplace on. But I have a pretty healthy gut. For the most part, my gut's pretty healthy. I don't have usually problems. I can eat just about anything, and it never gives me issues. I have lots of energy for a almost 65-year-old, as most of you know. And I will tell you, yeah, Marmy, your dairy smoothie didn't like you that day, did it? So, it's just what you feel. What are you feeling? Pay attention to that. This whole course is about listening to your body, listening to what it's telling you, and realizing that there are things that can cause you to feel unhealthy, unwell. It doesn't necessarily make you sick, but it doesn't make you feel great either. It doesn't give you that extra boost of energy. So just things to think about. Healing foods. So this is my favorite category because this is the one I feel like everybody needs to know about. These are the foods that tell your body, peace, calm, relax, heal, love. Okay? Nature gave us a rainbow of medicine. Each color represents phytochemicals that heal in specific ways. So, add a salad every day that has a rainbow in it. Just a quick overview. Green has phytonutrients like chlorophyll and sulforaphane, which support detoxification, immune function, and gut health. So those would be your leafy greens: spinach, kale, broccoli, asparagus, avocado, and kiwi. Not all vegetables and not all leafy, but that's that category. Red contains antioxidants like lycopene, which protects your cells from damage and benefits heart health. So red foods like tomatoes, strawberries, cranberries, cherries, and red peppers. Yellow and orange contain beta-carotene and other antioxidants that support immune function and digestive health. So carrots and sweet potatoes and pumpkins and oranges and Yellow and orange bell peppers. Yum. Blue or purple are loaded with antioxidants called anthocyanins, which have an anti-inflammatory property and may actually help against chronic diseases. I will tell you though, just eating blueberries every day is not going to help you. You have to do a whole lot more. I heard a story I won't share. So blueberries, blackberries, eggplant, purple cabbage. I put purple cabbage in my salads. Cabbage, purple cabbage, orange carrots, spinach, and spring greens, organic spring greens, and sometimes a tomato. It depends on if I've grown them or not. And some white things. Okay, let's talk about white things. They contain quercetin and allicin, which are anti-inflammatory and immune boosting. Okay, so garlic and onions and cauliflower and mushrooms and parsnips. And I love parsnips in my soup. I love putting cauliflower on my salad, and I love the mushrooms. So for those of you who don't already know. Bone broth is also a good food. It's rich in collagen and amino acids that help repair the intestinal barrier. Fermented foods also, like sauerkraut and kimchi and kefir, reintroduce beneficial bacteria into your gut microbiome. Really important. So think about your plate as a pharmacy, okay? The one your ancestors used long before prescription medications existed. We actually have an anti-inflammatory food list in the classroom you can download to see those healing foods. It doesn't give you all the colors, but it gives you the healing foods. So eat a nice multicolored salad. Leafy greens, berries, turmeric, olive oil, wild fish are extra good. Gut healing, bone broth, aloe vera, collagen, fermented foods, and then detoxifying foods like cruciferous vegetables are cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, okay, lemon water, herbs, garlic, cilantro. If you've gone and looked at the green drink that we recommend at the beginning or in our recipes section, you will find that there are a lot of these things in there. So we've seen this picture before, right? Last week. So the leaky gut connection. The gut lining depends on those nutrients, those vitamins, those minerals, those amino acids in order to stay strong. And when it's starved of these, then these tight junctions begin to loosen and the immune confusion begins to deepen. Healing foods like bone broth and fermented vegetables and herbs like turmeric and ginger can soothe the gut and calm the inflammation. So when your gut becomes leaky, partially digested food particles and bacteria can get into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees them as invaders and launches an attack. If the same food shows up every day or several times a week, like wheat and dairy, soy, your immune system becomes hypersensitive to them, and that's why we do our food sensitivity test. The food sensitivity tests are not random. They're a reflection of gut damage. The solution isn't just eliminate everything forever. It's to heal the gut so that you can tolerate those foods again. Speaking with one of my longtime clients, and she was like, this really works, and I can eat more foods, and she's doing so much better. So food sensitivities actually worsen our permeability. So trying to cut those back, why we do that IgG food test. Rotating our diet helps to calm the immune response. So moving, don't eat the same food more than once every 4 days. Eat different foods. And then listen to your body. It keeps the score. It keeps the score. So one of the most overlooked triggers is blood sugar swings. Every time your glucose spikes, your cortisol and inflammation rise too. Eating balanced meals with protein and fiber stabilizes this rhythm and keeps your immune system calm. So spikes in blood sugar equal cortisol and inflammation. Stable blood sugar equals balanced energy and hormones. Protein and fiber at each meal equals stability. Really important. I do want to talk for a moment about fasting. So we fast naturally every night. We stop eating after 6 p.m. We get up and we eat within an hour of waking. This is a normal rhythm. This is a healthy rhythm. It's also suggested that you wait about 5 hours between meals or eat small amounts every 3 hours. And this, of course, depends on the individual's needs. Everybody's different. And I want you to be gentle and I want you to be mindful. So here's the thing about fasting. The intermittent fasting craze is everywhere, but it does not help people who are having adrenal issues. It's not helpful at all. It's telling the body you're still in stress and is creating more stress for the body. So we want to ensure that we look at ourselves, listen to the body. Now, waiting 5 hours between meals is something that we do for people that have diabetes, and we ensure those that aren't taking medications, and we ensure that the herbal formulas that they're taking are very specific for them so that they can keep a balance in their blood sugar and help their body to produce the right amount of insulin. For those that are struggling with adrenals, we might ask you to eat a small amount every 3 hours and making sure you're getting more protein than is typical of a normal diet. Again, this is very dependent on the individual. But to be fair, if we go back to that fasting, between 6 in the evening and 6 or 8 in the morning, depending on what time you get up, you're fasting for 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours, and that is a good enough fast. The problem is most of us do not eat within an hour of waking because we say, well, we're not hungry. Why is that? Well, you're not hungry because your body has just shoved out a whole bunch of sugar into your bloodstream, glucose into your bloodstream, because it knows you're not going to eat. And sometimes I hear this, but Dr. Berry, if I eat in the morning, I'm hungry all day long. That's because you finally fed your body when it's supposed to be fed after the fast. Yeah. And then your body's like, oh, you're going to feed me today. Yay! And then it wants to eat all day long. Good. Feed it. Every 3 hours, some protein. Every 3 hours, a little bit of fiber. Every 3 hours. See, everybody's where you're at is different. And I want to make sure that you don't just take this as, oh, this is the way I'm supposed to do it. No, everybody's different. So how we have to modify it or set it up for you depends on your body and how you're listening. This blood sugar situation surprises many, many people. It's one of the biggest hidden drivers of autoimmune flares. When you start your day with pastries or coffee or nothing, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes. Your adrenals release cortisol to rescue you. Cortisol raises inflammation and confuses your immune signaling. But when you eat a balanced meal, protein, healthy fat, fiber, lots of color, your body feels safe. Safe blood sugar equals a calm immune system. So here's a little trick. Never eat a carb by itself. Okay, let's try this. Never eat a carb by itself. Pair a fruit, which is a simple carb, with a protein. Pair a grain with greens or salad. If you do this, your immune system will love the stability. And the cortisol response, the inflamed response, it can improve that as well. Little tip, never eat a carb alone. So we've looked at food. Now let's look at some lifestyle habits. We've looked at diet, we've looked at food, we've looked at how all of this works together. But the whole picture is completed with the lifestyle. Stress, whether that's emotional, physical, nutritional, environmental, whatever that is from, when our body goes into a stress response, stress is a match and it lights an inflammatory fire. Just like that. Movement is a pump. Now, we've talked about this in other classes, but in case you haven't been there yet, our body has a lymph system, okay, that removes toxins. It's all through. It's in our gut, it's in our intestinal lining, it's in our groin, it's under our arms, it's everywhere. We even have lymph nodes in our brain, in our head, okay? All through our body there are lymph nodes. Lymph is responsible for carrying away the toxins, okay? The only filter for the lymph system is the spleen. And we talked about this in past classes, but our spleen cleans our lymph system. Our spleen, unlike our heart and our lungs, does not have a pump. It doesn't pump. It doesn't move it through automatically. Okay, when we breathe, we're moving the oxygen, the carbon dioxide out and the oxygen in. It's an automatic system, right? Do we think about a heartbeat? Do we have to say, pump, pump, you got to pump? No, we don't. It's an automatic system. Our heart just beats and keeps the blood circulating through its filters. But our lymph system does not have a filter. Well, it has a filter. It doesn't have a pump on that filter. The pump for the lymph system, or the lymphatic system, is movement. And specifically, up and down movement. Okay, everybody bounce up and down in their chair. We're going to have fun with this. When we move up and down or bounce or, walk fast or run or jump on a trampoline or ride our bicycles, the movement pumps the lymph through the lymphatic system. Now, ladies, if you are wearing a bra, take it off right now. Because the bra puts pressure. I'm going to pretend like this is where the bra is putting pressure. We know that's not where it is. But the bra puts pressure and doesn't allow the lymph nodes in your breast from moving the toxins through. Let me say that again, because this is really important. I'll start with take your bra off. The lymph nodes, when they're compressed by a brassiere, the brassiere does not allow the lymph fluid and all the toxins that are in that fluid from moving out of the breast. So wearing a bra doesn't allow the lymph fluid to move. Okay, and you're saying, but Dr. Berry, I can't go run without my sport bra that holds me in place. You're right. You probably shouldn't do that or you'll tear some tissue. But you do need to move. You need to move without the bra because we need to move that lymph out of the tatas, okay? It's got to get moved out. The majority of breast cancer in the United States in women starts in the breast where the lymph nodes are, okay? Those lymph nodes are being smashed and not allowed to move that toxin through the body and out to be filtered by the spleen and flushed down the toilet. So those toxins stay there. Your body begins making abnormal cells that cannot leave, and they get stranded there. We don't want that. Sleep. Sleep is your body's immune reset button. Many of us were using green glasses, so we're going to talk about those next week. But for those of you using green glasses, that sends a signal to the brain, and I'll explain all of this next week. But that helps to reset or calm the immune response. But sleep is your rest and digest. It's your get myself reset for the next day. It is a reset button. And, you know, some of my clients, and I know you're out there, you're not sleeping great. And we got to get you sleeping. You know, sleepy time tea, sleepy time extra if you're waking up in the middle of the night, something to help you sleep at night. We have several supplement options that we can recommend. My husband and I do a sleepy time extra tea every evening or almost every evening, and it helps us sleep through the night, and it helps us get to sleep. It helps us sleep well. So, you know, coming up with things to help you sleep so that you can reset your immune system and have it working healthier each day. And finally, joy. Let's not underestimate joy. Joy is a chemistry, okay? It's just like everything else we've talked about. Laughing with a friend, being in nature, creating something. I painted today with my daughter and granddaughter. These are anti-inflammatory experiences. So all of this to say, the healing doesn't stop with food. It continues in a daily rhythm. Sleep is when your immune system resets and your gut lining repairs. Stress floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline, undoing all of that hard work. Movement isn't punishment, it's flow. Okay? And even gentle walks, stretches, or dancing will move lymph, reduce your inflammation, and elevate your mood. So let's do a real quick mindfulness practice or a calming meal practice. So in an earlier training, and you can go back and look at that, I have a whole section on mindful eating. Okay, I'm not going to go over that today. I am going to talk about utilizing a 4-4-6 breathing exercise before your meals. When you sit down, I don't know about you, but when it's mealtime, it's like rush, 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 get the dinner done, get stuff finished, hurry up and eat, get back out the door, get back to whatever it was I was doing. And a lot of times that just overfeeds you, or you're in too big of a hurry to actually make something that's healthy. So sometimes you need to be mindful when you eat so that you're calm and you're thinking about the food and what it's doing for you and why you've chosen it. So tonight we had a homemade pizza, which was made on whole grain pita bread. We had individual ones. And I used, because I don't do tomatoes, I used pesto sauce that was homemade, put some pesto on it, and I can eat cheese, so I put some cheese on, some feta and some mozzarella. If you weren't hungry before, you might be now. And I put some spinach, and I put some onion and some cucumber. I know y'all are going, what? You put what on your... And some Kalamata olives and a little bit of chicken that we had left over, and popped that into my air fryer and air fried it for a bit. It was so good. It was so delicious, and it had so many different colors, and I did add a little bit of tomato, just some little cherry tomatoes on there. And so I had some green, and I had some white, and I had some just all different colors, red, and it's beautiful, and it tasted so scrumptious. And I took my time, and I relaxed, and I ate, and I enjoyed my company. We don't always have time to do that, and I understand that. Sometimes we just are in a hurry. So you can do something called 4-4-6 breathing, which is very similar to what we do on a regular when we come in and we ground before our classes. You can just ground, take a few minutes, take some breaths, do a breathe in through the nose at a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and breathe out through the mouth sighing if you need to on a count of 6. So we know how to do this. We do this every week, right? I have just calmed myself down and prepared myself for my meal and didn't eat it as fast as I would have otherwise. So just remember, on top of everything is that joy and gratitude. Okay. Told you we had a long one tonight. All right, your healing action plan. So we're going to start simple. Remove 1 irritant per week. So this week, what irritant will you remove? Okay. Add 1 healing food. I'm going to suggest the salad with at least 5 colors. Track how your body is feeling. You'll be amazed at the changes that you notice when you listen. So you can see I have 5 steps. Add 1 healing food at each meal. Add 1 inflammatory trigger, remove 1 inflammatory trigger food weekly. Practice calm meal techniques. We've just talked about 2 of them. Track your body's response. And remember to celebrate the small wins. Now, this is a challenge. Remember to celebrate. Healing isn't about overhauling your whole life overnight. Although, if you work with me one-on-one, we might do that. We work pretty quick. It's about small, consistent steps that build trust between you and your body, right? So, we're going we have a food and mood journal that we've created in the past few weeks, and you can journal to track your body's responses, track your energy, track your mood, track your digestion, and then celebrate those small wins every time you make a nourishing choice. Acknowledge it. Post it in the classroom. Say, hey, in fact, maybe I should do that. Every week I'm going to say, what were your wins this week? And then you guys can respond and say what your wins were. It really isn't about intense changes. It's really about being consistent. I was talking with a client that I've worked with for years, and one of the things she told me was, she was like, I've taken all the things you've told me, and I just every year I just add a couple new things, and I just keep going forward and keep going forward, and I'm seeing improvement, and it's slow, but I'm feeling so much better and just really moving forward. When we're done working together, if you're working with me one-on-one, when we're done working together, that's not the end. It's just the beginning. You've learned so much that you can just start implementing little things as you go along, as you're getting healthy. So let's reflect for a minute. What is my body trying to tell me through my cravings, my fatigue, and my inflammation, or my stress, or my cortisol levels, or my autoimmune disease, or my digestive tract, or trying to tell me? Your body has been speaking all along through all of these things. When we numb those signals with fast fixes, we miss the invitation to heal. So tonight, take a moment and thank your body, not for being perfect, but for being persistent. It's doing everything it can to bring you back into balance and keep you on your feet. So, we have homework. You have homework. I've already done this homework, but I might do it again just to see where I'm at. We're going to do those 5 things. We're going to add one new healing food, like a 5-color salad. You can look at at the healthy food handout. We're going to eliminate one inflammatory food. Try to do this about once a week. We're going to practice some type of a calm before we eat, whether that's meditation, muscle relaxation progression, 4-4-6 breathing. We also call that triangle breathing, or mindful eating, whatever you need to do to calm your body before you go into the food process. I'll tell you a story real quick. The other day, my husband and I were out running all day long, and it was 3 o'clock, and we hadn't had lunch yet. And he was like, we went in to get my daughter's prescription, and they said, oh, it's not going to be ready for another 20 minutes. And he looked at me and he says, let's go get something to eat. So we were trying to get home. We were trying to get home so that we could get food, healthy food, and it's like we're still not home yet. And it's 3 o'clock. I think it was like 2:45, but not important. So we went to Culver's. Oh, wrong place to go, and we got chicken sandwiches, and we went to the parking lot at the pharmacy to wait for her prescription. And we ate our lunch in the car, which is fine, but I'm usually a very slow eater. And I hadn't eaten since, like, I don't know, 7 o'clock that morning. And I only had like a half a piece of toast and a banana. I think it was like rush out the door kind of thing. So I just got a grab and go. I think it was a half piece of sourdough, a little tiny piece, and a banana as I was running out the door. Not the best thing, right? Number one, it's not giving me enough energy to get through my day. I did not feed my adrenals, and there's no protein in that meal. Okay, so what not to do, right? And so by 3 o'clock or 2:45, I'm starving. I am starving. And I'm starting to feel shaky, and my blood sugar's dropping, and I'm like, honey, we have got to eat. And I had said that before we found out we had to stop and pick up my daughter's medicine. So we get to the store, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be another 20 minutes. And I'm going, okay, got to eat. He was like, yeah, let's go out. So we went to Culver's, and we sat in the parking lot and ate a sandwich. I devoured this sandwich. Okay, not because it tasted great, but because I was hungry. I was really hungry. Too hungry. Should not have waited so long to eat. See, I'm not asking perfection because I can't be perfect. But all of that to say, literally, he looked at me like there was something wrong with me. And he says, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, why? He says, you have eaten that so fast. Now, this is not normal for me to eat that fast, right? He was like, you ate that so fast. You must have been really hungry. I said, honey, I have not had any real food since I woke up this morning. And he was like, oh, yeah, we didn't have a really good breakfast, did we? I said, no, we did not. And he was like, okay. And literally was running the whole day on hardly any fuel. And so, yeah, so then I ate way more than I should have. I overate. I ate an entire sandwich, which normally I can eat about half of. Had some onion rings because he ordered onion rings, and then ate a shake after that. It really was not a good thing for me to do. Now, I say all that to say, we make mistakes and we do things because we have to, but I had to eat. I was starving. I should not have waited so long, right? So do some calming before you eat. Calm down. Don't just devour your food all in one giant gulp. Gulp. Okay. Track your food. Track your mood every day. Track your gut, your food, and your mood. and celebrate those wins. Post them to the community about all of your small wins, all of those tiny ones. It doesn't matter if you think it was not significant. I've had people get so excited over, hey, I had one part of my poop float. Okay, that's a win. Tell me about it. I want to hear. Notice how you feel when you choose presence over perfection, right? Not perfect, just need to be present. All right, so food is one of the most powerful tools we have for our transformation, right? It carries not just nutrients, but vibration, energy, source, frequency, for those of you that are working with me with the frequency device. Color, light, memory all have frequency. When you eat with intention, you're reconnecting with your body's innate wisdom and the frequency that you need to be healthy. Your cells are listening to the signals you're sending, how you feel, what you do, and they keep track. If you've had trauma, your body holds on to that. It keeps the score. If you have eaten unhealthily for years, your body keeps up with that. It keeps the score. If you have been ill, maybe you caught COVID and you haven't been healthy ever since, your body has changed and is listening to what's happening, that environmental attack, the toxins, the lack of nutrients. All of these things, your immune system is listening. And when you feed it peace and calmness, it will begin responding the same way. So next week, we're going to explore powerful healing technologies. These are non-invasive tools that help our body balance faster, okay? Things like bioscan, auricular therapy, photobiomodulation, some of these you can do yourself. Some alternative healing modalities that we'll learn about next week. In the meantime, go on, find out, do those 5 steps. Just one little move every day, one healing food each day, removing one trigger each week, calming practices before you eat or mindful eating, tracking and paying attention, journaling your energy, your mood, and your digestion. And then come in the classroom and celebrate those wins. Every time you make a choice or see an improvement, celebrate it, because it's those teeny tiny changes that improve and bring you to a point of healing. Thank you for being here. We'll see you all next week.